Welcome to Cincinnati, Ohio, the site of the 2014 USA Ultimate College Championships. In the women's division, pre-quarters, we're now in the elimination round. We have a great game with Santa Barbara facing off against Michigan. Thanks to this broadcast brought to you by USA Ultimate, Patagonia, and Elemental Technologies. Without our sponsors, the streaming would not have been possible. I'm Brian Jones here with Ryan Thompson. We have ourselves a great matchup in the women's pre-quarterfinals. Winner advances to quarters, stays alive today. Santa Barbara Burning Skirts versus Michigan Flywheel. And right now, Ryan, Michigan coming into this game with only 15 healthy players. They're going to have to rely on their top studs to get the job done. Exactly. That's not out of the realm of possibility for them. They are a very vet-heavy team. A lot of these players who are now playing important roles for them, Midi Chang, JJ Jarek, Becky Moore, these are players who were on the team in 2012 when they made semis and lost to Oregon. This is an experienced team. These are players who know what they're doing. Michigan has a very, very strong top 7 or so players. They only have 4 rookies on the team, 15 healthy players, but they've already played Santa Barbara this year. They beat them at Centex, crushed them at Centex, and they're going to use that experience to help game plan today. If Santa Barbara is going to have a chance, it's going to come down to the play of Lisa Pakaithley, one of the best players in the women's game for Santa Barbara. We did a game earlier yesterday. Santa Barbara facing off against Washington. Santa Barbara with a 7-4 lead, ended up losing as Washington went on a 10-1 run. Talking to Carolyn Finney, the head coach of Santa Barbara, said that their players were calling lines, called a little bit too tight. They got exhausted, couldn't finish out the game. Today they called more even lines. They had success. Expect to see more of that. Also, Lisa Pakaithley's counterpart, Noelle Neeson, had a fantastic game against Washington. Very aggressive, very fast, good with the disc, providing some deep cuts. And we'll also see Kelly Gross on the side commanding the offense. Both teams a little bit shorthanded, don't have the best depth. It's going to be a battle of attrition over the course of this game, Ryan. Yep, and the wind's starting to pick up, which plays into Michigan's hands, actually. Santa Barbara would love to keep their points as short as possible in order to keep fresh legs. They're not quite as deep as Michigan. Neither team is among the deepest at the tournament. But Santa Barbara is one of the most top-heavy teams here this weekend. Pakaithley with the pole, Santa Barbara in the white, Michigan Flywheel in blue. And let's get started. Michigan, a block right off the bat by Neeson. Foul called on the play. Interesting, they've got Joy Kang matched up on Midi Chang. It's a tough matchup for any defender. Blatch looking upfield. Block going deep right off the bat. Michigan back of the end zone, in for the goal. Zettner bringing it in. And that's Midi Chang's impact right there. First point, beautiful inside-out backhand huck to a streaking Zettner. She's going to get those looks. She's incredibly quick, and she's got great aggressive fakes, great breaks. Santa Barbara's going to have to try and limit the impact of Midi Chang. Carolyn Finney before the game said, with any great handler, you can never really take them out of the game. All you can do is limit their impact. They know the breaks are going to come. They just have to adjust downfield when she gets in those positions. Off to a good start for Michigan. We'll see if the Santa Barbara offense can now respond. And in the pre-quarters round, all of the pools have been decided. Here in day 2, college championships in Cincinnati, Ohio. We've had the wind stir up a couple times during the day. Go from a little bit gusty to calm. Right now, back to calm as we go through our second point. Likely to see Kelly Gross get the disc in a centered position. Talia Barth back as well for Santa Barbara. Gross to Pakaithley. Kang underneath. Gets it off the start. Kang. Back to Gross. Active marks here from Michigan. Looking deep for Pakaithley. Far enough. Reels it in for the goal. Gross to Pakaithley. 1-1. It'll be interesting to see who Michigan Flywheel chooses to put on Pakaithley. That was Teresa Zettner. They might also go with JJ Jarek or Becky Moore. But their goal is to tire her out. They know that she wants to play every point. They know she doesn't want to do that much running. They're going to switch off defenders. They're going to keep her guessing, and they're going to keep her tired. That's their goal. Santa Barbara's played 2 easy games today. They're pretty fresh right now. But as with any game at Nationals, if you start to play all the points, you're going to feel it with that extra intensity, especially in an elimination game at the college championships.
Keithley actually going out, getting a rest. Finney saying that she was going to have to load up her offense. Head coach Carolyn Finney, load up her offense, try to make it through the game, get some key breaks against Michigan at the right time. Yeah. As a coach, when you don't have much depth, Ryan, what are you looking to do in order to save legs on defense?
Well, there's kind of 2 real options to treat the beginning of a game like this. One is load up at the beginning of the game, try to go up, get a couple breaks early when the teams are still feeling each other out. Right? If you can get a quick turn, strike quickly, get those breaks, and go up and then protect that lead is one strategy. Or you can feel each other out. You can not play your star players at the beginning. You can see what the other team likes to do. You can start to game plan, and then when you have that game plan, then you put your studs back in. Then you try and get those breaks once you have an idea of what you really want to do.
Great grab. Chang reels it in for Michigan. Jarek. Moore. Looking back for Chang. Pick on the play.
And like we were talking earlier, with Pick Catley out right now, looks like they're trying to just feel, Santa Barbara's just trying to feel out Michigan Flywheel's offense right now. See what it takes to get a break here.
Chang. It's Neeson. Great matchup downfield. Hammer to the break side. Turnover for Michigan, going back the other way. Gross. Looking for Barth. Good cut upfield. Barth driving, creating space. De Los Reyes. Looking upfield for Gross. Gross in power position. Going to send this one. It's short. Receiver has the viewpoint. Reels it in. Neeson. Early threatening here. Santa Barbara. A chance to go up a break. But Keithley not on the field. This would be great start for Santa Barbara. Gross. Active marks here for Michigan. Very flat. Later in the counts, going to a more of a no around. De Los Reyes. Near the goal line, looking for an option. Nothing available. Gross is back. Puts it up in the air, hanging. Deed by Moore in the back of the end zone.
That's not a great matchup for Santa Barbara there, floating it out to the back of the end zone with Moore in coverage. Becky Moore, one of the best defenders on Flywheel. That's just a desperation throw right there. She didn't have the confidence to step out and throw it to throw around to Gross, so she just lofted it into the end zone to one of Michigan's best defenders.
Henkin gets it off. Out of the middle of the field for Jarek, going deep once again. Zettner in the end zone for a goal. 2-1, and really the turnover created by a shifting of the mark by Michigan. Gets Michigan the disc back. Santa Barbara is going to need to take advantage of almost every break chance available, and that's going to hurt them even early.
Yeah. Noelle Neeson was in the game there, being guarded by Miri Chang, and she was just sitting as a dump. When you're by the end zone like that, sometimes you need your more electric, explosive, quick players like Neeson to really take over, give an option to a stranded thrower there. Gross was expecting the thrower to just step out and throw the around, but she's not a very confident thrower. The mark shifted, no dump, and it led to a turnover in a really prime position for a break.
Michigan up 2-1. Keithley comes back on the field with Neeson still. Neeson played the majority of points for Santa Barbara this weekend.
As have most of Santa Barbara's best players. Neeson, Gross, Keithley, Kang. Gross is out on this one. Kang and Keithley back in.
Head coach Carolyn Finney was a member of the Santa Barbara teams that went to 5 straight finals back in the later part of the 2000s.
In 2001, Finney's Santa Barbara team defeated Michigan in the finals.
McCaithley going deep for Neeson. Short. Neeson over the top. Noelle Neeson. Now for the assist. Puts it in the end zone. Finding Rachel Johnston. Great play by Neeson. See here, McCaithley putting it deep.
That's a great adjustment by Noelle Neeson, coming back to the disc there, getting over the top of the shorter Hankin. That's a veteran receiver move, noticing the flight of the disc. It's short, she comes back for it, makes a big athletic grab and finishes with the assist.
Neeson is rewarded with a point off. You see McCaithley, Gross, and Neeson in a rotation at times to make sure one of them is at least resting. McCaithley encouraging her team on the line right now.
These short O points are really beneficial to Santa Barbara. They can score on offense in 3 to 5 throws. They're saving legs. They can focus on getting breaks and building that lead.
Santa Barbara getting set to pull. Gross with the disc. A good pull here can make all of the difference in these games. Allow the defensive pressure to set. Chang. Abby. Back to Chang. Chang, the commander from the central position here for Michigan. Wilson. Abby. Moore was streaking deep. Kang matched up against Chang.
Kang, who drew the Shira Stern matchup yesterday, now on Meaty Chang.
Rumeritz. Wilson. Finding Abby underneath. Block, looking deep. Wide open in the end zone for the score. Rumeritz reels it in.
That's a great early throw there. She sees her receiver on the opposite side of the field, has beat her defender, and she just puts it out into space in that big wide open space in the end zone for the goal.
We'll take a look here at the elemental keys to the game. Ryan for Michigan.
Michigan wants to tire him out. Michigan wants to keep Santa Barbara moving. They want to keep switching up their matchups, especially on Prequarter, and really run him around.
And for Santa Barbara?
Santa Barbara, they need to connect deep. It's related to the other point. They want to keep points short. They want to keep opening up the space deep so that Michigan can't clamp down and front them. If Michigan can front Santa Barbara, force them to throw a ton of throws, Santa Barbara's going to turn the disc over. They're going to play long points, and they're going to lose their edge and their energy.
There you have it, the keys to the game. Thanks to our correspondent Ryan Thompson. Spent the majority of the regular season covering for Sky Magazine in the women's division. Had an opportunity to go to Centex and Stanford Invite.
And the Northwest Challenge.
Northwest Challenge, showcasing some of the elite teams in the division. Ohio State taking that one.
I was actually at Centex, saw these two teams play in pool play at Centex when Michigan crushed a lackadaisical Santa Barbara team. Santa Barbara says they don't remember that game. Their record says they have a loss to Michigan, but as far as they're concerned, this is the first time they're playing them this year.
Rose to Prequarter.
Just outside the end zone.
Prequarter looking for an option. Flips to Gross. Gross makes it all the way down the field after her huck. Gets the goal. UCSB staying on track.
And while Santa Barbara might say they feel like they're playing Michigan for the first time, they've got a little bit of a grudge against them for that game. They want to get that one back. Michigan, on the other hand, they said they feel like that game earlier this season was representative of Santa Barbara. They've played them. They have that experience. They're not going to be surprised in this game. They feel like the intensity will be greater, but they like having that experience of already having played this team. From point one, they know what they're going to do. They're not off guard, and they're able to prepare and be ready for this game. Both Gross and Pith Kately walking up the field, and Kang.
How much does either mindset matter here? You have Santa Barbara saying, no, it doesn't matter about that game. That didn't happen to us. We're going to move forward. They're coming in with a fresh start, but Michigan's saying we have the confidence to know exactly what's going to happen. Which side do you want to be of that coin?
Honestly, I don't think it matters that much. Santa Barbara seems to have put Centex behind them. They did great in the series. They won all their games. They won conferences. They won regionals. Centex is just a fluke. It's a blip on the radar for them. I don't think they're worried about it. And for Michigan, knowing that you have the confidence, you have the ability to beat this team, I think that's important.
Michigan a bit surprised by the pull. Nonetheless, we get going. Zettner. Hankin. Neeson on Chang. Inside break to Moore. Back to Chang. Zettner. Chang moving it up the field. Give and go. Can't hang on to it. Unforced error. Not what we expect from Chang. Now if you're Neeson, you've got to run Chang, but
can't even complete one pass after the turnover here.
Santa Barbara, Winnie Lamb can't get it off. Looking for Barth in the backfield. Hankin finding Moore in the end zone. 4-3. Unforced errors for both squads.
I don't know that dump turnover was pressured at least. Good D on Talia Barth. There's Hannah Hankin there, slotting in that break backhand to Becky Moore. Hankin's a bright spot for the future of Michigan Ultimate, only a sophomore, playing very important points here as a second handler behind Miri Chang. Early in the season, she's played as the main D-line handler for several points. She's got a lot of experience. She's got some great throws, and she really knows where to be on the field, knows her place in the game. And that's really helpful to have that kind of veteran experience, veteran presence from someone who's only a sophomore.
Kately back on the field for Santa Barbara. Neeson off. Much more of a rotation here for Santa Barbara in this game. It seems at this point that they're content to trade out to half. Maybe go ahead and load up at a few key points.
Yeah, keeping this game even at this point plays to Santa Barbara's strengths. Obviously, both teams would love to open up a big lead here in the first half, but if the game's going to stay close and it's going to stay clean, Santa Barbara's not expending too much energy on either end of the field.
Pull from Michigan. Going to go out of bounds. Kately will take it at the center. Now, if you're Santa Barbara, I'm not sure that this is the place you want Kately all the time. Sometimes starting from the handler position and then busting deep, but Kately can just assert her dominance downfield a lot easier. Gross. Looking deep for Kang. Help from Michigan's dig. Throw hangs. Kang reels it in for the goal. 4-4. Quick point for Santa Barbara.
I do like that play, though, of having Gross start as a wing cutter in the host stack, clear out the middle of the field, break it to Gross, and let her have her shot downfield.
Gross gets the disc, as you said, to Kang.
It's a great throw. Two defenders there, but can't get in front of Kang, who runs it down. Nice throw by Gross. It's a great pull play off the pull there.
That's what you get from an out-of-bounds pull. Pulls are so underrated, I think, across the board in the sport from a lot of teams. Some teams seem to rely on a player like Colorado with Jimmy Mickle. And Santa Barbara here with Gross, actually a great puller to get it done.
Absolutely. We were talking earlier about Oregon's strategies in some games. Roller pulls out at the brick mark. I mean, the difference between having a team start at the brick with patience, walking and setting up, versus a team starting on the sideline at the brick mark with a full defense already set and mark in your face is huge.
Lisa Kately set the pole. Neeson on the field after arrest. This pole is going to hang.
Well, they got the defense set, but it's only at midfield.
And we see a zone here from Santa Barbara. A 3-3-1. Gross hanging out deep. Pacathley in the middle of the field, and Kang gets the D right off the bat. Pacathley. They loaded up the defensive line here. Neeson on with Gross and Barth. Kang to the end zone. Pacathley, you can tell, senses the urgency of this point, really getting involved. But a missed throw, leading Gross out in front when it should have been to the back. Underneath, Jarek.
Santa Barbara back in their junkie clam here. Or collapsing into man. Now Gross is just playing center field out here.
Looking for Chang. Zettner. Zettner over the top, out to space, but too far.
Foul called on the play.
We'll see here, perhaps. 4-4, Michigan looking for the disc back.
That was another golden break opportunity for Santa Barbara.
Looks like it's uncontested, coming in on one.
I didn't see anything there, but coming in uncontested.
Looked like she may have hit her on the follow through. I don't know if the disc was still in her hand when contact was made.
Looking back. Hunting block.
Disc goes back to Zettner.
Back to that turnover. That's just J.J. Jarek making a nice read on the dump set, but Pacathley can just put that out into space. She doesn't have to throw it directly to Gross. Combination of heads up D and also just lazy throw right there.
Wilson, Michigan, off the front of the stack for the goal, finding Zettner.
That's twice Santa Barbara's had the disc on the doorstep to break and failing both times.
Santa Barbara needs to take advantage of those as much as possible with their short roster. Not much depth available for Santa Barbara. So far they've done a good job of rotating Neeson, Pacathley, and Gross out, but looks like they're going to be staying on the field here.
All of them were just in on that point where they failed to score. Those two turnovers might come back to bite them if this is a close game at the end.
At this point, though, too, you have a shorthanded roster. You need your rest. A timeout would have been well-timed if you're going to load up and try to break.
There's another O point here, though. I think they haven't been having much trouble moving the disc on offense.
Talk about timeout calls. Tina Booth, one of Amherst High School coach here now with University of Massachusetts, talks about taking timeouts after a score rather than when you get scored on. There are times when it's warranted for both, but doesn't allow a team to feel a sense of momentum if you take a timeout after you score. Santa Barbara is going to need the rest at some point.
Yeah. It's hard, though, when you really need to make adjustments or get people's heads back together. It's hard in just 90 seconds or less without a timeout sometimes, especially in observed games.
Gross had a cutter streaking underneath. Now looking for Lisa Pacathley. Oh, wide open. Hernandez doesn't move the disc. Now back to Gross over the top. Gross is going to snag that, no problem. Hernandez. Pacathley running in space with Zettner. Zettner has played a lot of points so far. Pacathley putting it out for Neeson. Neeson's going to track it down for the score, 5-5.
There's a wide open cutter on an in cut. Pacathley looked her off, waited for her to vacate that space, and then just put it out into that space she just came from for Neeson.
Noelle Neeson, really the counterpart for this offense. You have Kelly Gross running it from the central handler spot. And Neeson and Pacathley take turns going deep. And really here, if you're going to try to guard Picathley hard. Neeson is going to be the target.
Yeah, Zettner was doing a pretty good job playing defense on Picathley. That was a break throw out to Picathley. She hadn't been able to get it on the open side. But you get it to Picathley in motion. Neeson's going to strike no matter what.
Still tied at 5s. Offense is holding. Santa Barbara needs to get some rest to their starters, but we still see Picathley and Neeson out there.
This is a loaded Santa Barbara line here trying to get a break.
We're forgetting to use the word stall when they start the stall count. Don't forget that, ladies.
Picathley.
Lisa Picathley with the ball for burning skirts.
Gets it along the sideline. Chang picking up. We can do immediately center.
Junk defense here from Santa Barbara.
Wilson. Looking back. Hankin. Over the top. Gross coming under. Wrist reads. Chang grabs it. Chang out to space. Finding Abby for the score. That's the throw that Santa Barbara wanted to force.
Kelly Gross got big eyes watching that throw come over the middle of the field, but just couldn't get up enough to get the D.
And we'll be right back here with more coverage from Next Gen Network pre-quarterfinals here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Welcome back to second half action here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Pre-quarters round of the women's division. Michigan finds themselves down 6-8 to UC Santa Barbara. This network broadcast is brought to you by USA Ultimate, Patagonia, Elemental Technologies. Thanks to our sponsors for helping us put up this stream. I'm Brian Jones here with Ryan Thompson. Michigan with the pole. But Ryan, Michigan really needs to make some adjustments on defense, especially with their mental attitude.
Yep, Michigan has some really athletic, aggressive man-to-man defenders. And here they're coming out in person defense. I like the call here, but they're just so far off. Kang being backed by 10 yards.
Gross.
Michigan has to pick up that intensity. They're so far away. Everyone on the field is 5 yards plus away from their defender.
Santa Barbara getting a couple of breaks in a row to end the first half, 8-6. Now with a chance on offense. High throw. Barth can't track it down.
This doesn't make sense to me from Santa Barbara. Jarek was playing 5 yards off of Gross, and Gross cut into her defender instead of just accepting a pass in the middle of the field.
Finding more. Back to Chang. Chang looking for more in isolation. Neeson giving chase.
It's not a great matchup for Santa Barbara.
Looking deep, Neeson on Moore. This is going to hang Moore in traffic. Neeson gets up and Moore rips it down.
Chang there, pointed deep, sent Moore, and then put it out for her. Moore boxes out, bodies out. Noelle Neeson comes down with the grab.
Good start for Michigan. Santa Barbara has an offensive point, the ability to go up and extend their lead right away. Can't take advantage. As you said, the miscue on the dump.
Yeah, that was an easy break for Michigan. Didn't have to work too hard for that one. Honestly, Santa Barbara has to really limit points like that if they're going to hold on to that lead.
8-7. We have many other pre-quarters games going around at this time, and we'll bring you some of the scores as we go in the second half. In the men's division, Wisconsin took half, 8-2 over their rival Carleton.
In the women's division, UVA Hydra took half over UCLA Blue, 8-5. Carleton appears to be up on Tufts, 7-6 in the women's division. And like we said earlier, UBC took half on Colorado College, 8-4. Not sure the second half score of that game right now.
Keithley picking up the pole, out of bounds.
She'll put it in play from the break mark.
A lot of open space in the middle of the field. Kang getting things going with Neeson. Neeson attacking. Keithley looks Neeson off. Finding Patterson. Trying to look for Gross. Wind picked up just as the throw went off. Michigan going the other way. And a sense of urgency for Michigan right off the bat. Moore. Moore looking back for Chang. Over the top. Chang. Spins around. Looking for an option back. Torvinen. Block.
Good call. Now back with the disc. Coming in on one.
Block. Looking back for Chang. Chang inside, just outside the end zone. Chang, the give and go. Every other throw for the score. Jarek puts him back on track, 8-8.
There's that defensive intensity. There's that fired up Michigan flywheel right out of half. 2 breaks to tie it back up at 8s. They're putting a little bit more pressure on now. That throw from Patterson to Gross may have been point blocked a little bit. There we see Chang with that great IO flick break to Jarek for the score.
Santa Barbara needs to regain composure. Giving up 2 straight out of half like that, once you built that critical lead.
And the wind is gusting up a little bit more now.
This could lead to longer points, which has to favor the Michigan squad. Despite only having 15 healthy players, Santa Barbara relies so much on the top players to get it done. Keithley, Gross, Neeson counted for almost all of the points in the first half for Santa Barbara.
Well, those 3 did throw all 8 assists between the 3 of them.
So they did account for all points. The big 3, Santa Barbara's big 3.
We saw there Michigan's, though. Chang breaking to Jarek. Those are 2 of their best players. And Moore with the catch in the end zone on the previous point. Another big, big player for Michigan.
Barth to Gross. Keithley isolated downfield. Gross. Not to Keithley.
Zedner's been doing a good job on Keithley this game, making it difficult for her to get the disc on the open side.
Kang. Miscommunication and error by Santa Barbara, unforced. Michigan has the momentum. Chang looking deep for Moore. This is a matchup they like. Over the top, Moore with a bit of a misread.
It's a carbon copy of that first break this half. Sending Moore deep, Chang looking and just putting it up for her. This time though, Barth able to play good defense as both of them missed the disc.
Keithley looking for Kang. Kang getting open underneath. Keithley choosing to go with the dump to the sideline.
Santa Barbara's tunneling in on their top players here. Other players are getting open downfield and getting looked off.
De Los Reyes. Santa Barbara unassigned foul called. This is going to be a turnover. There was a foul and a called stoppage of play, but throw a continuation. Chang.
If Kang called that foul, that should come back, but if it were a pick or a foul called by Vlock, play would continue.
(8-8). Michigan on a roll. Last 2 points. Breaking with their defense. Finding Moore. Great movement. Up the middle of the field for the score. 9-8 Michigan. And the sideline just came alive.
Michigan is fired up now. Sophomore Hannah Henkin hitting Teresa Zettner for the break there. Michigan really displaying that intensity and that pressure. Santa Barbara was just swinging it back and forth on their own goal line, and they call a timeout.
Timeout called. Trying to regather composure here. 9-8 Michigan leads. We'll be right back to see the conclusion here. Next Gen's going to take a break here, the 2014 College Championships. Back in Cincinnati for the conclusion of the second half pre-quarters matchup in the women's division. Santa Barbara down 9-8 against Michigan. Receiving on offense, Santa Barbara in the white, Michigan in the blue. Santa Barbara had built an 8-6 halftime lead, Ryan, but then Michigan upped the defensive intensity, and it's paid off with 3 straight breaks.
Yep. Santa Barbara had 4 turnovers in those 3 points after only 3 turnovers the entire first half. So that's really big turnaround with Michigan's defensive pressure, but also Santa Barbara just getting a little sloppier. The wind's picked up a little. Michigan's picked up that intensity. It's combined to produce sloppier play by Santa Barbara's offense.
Not a constant wind today, gusting up to around 10-15, just enough to affect throws that if you're not paying attention as a thrower or have gotten comfortable, they could either dive to the ground or pop up.
Santa Barbara really needs to open up that deep space again. Michigan's really keying in on these unders, really trying to clamp down, force the handlers to swing it.
Neeson underneath. McCaffrey just standing back and handling. Even though Moore is a great matchup, McCaffrey's going to need to get involved. Patterson looking back for Gross. Neeson. Neeson to McCaffrey. McCaffrey looking to break. Finding Neeson. Gross. To Neeson. Neeson to the end zone. De Los Reyes reels it in, 9-9.
That's more of that classic Santa Barbara offense. Gross and Pitt-Caithley swinging it back and forth until they hit Neeson on a big under. Gross hitting Neeson up line, and Neeson finishing to De Los Reyes.
Santa Barbara recovers out of the timeout. We saw this in the last game against Washington Element. Santa Barbara took the timeout, would regroup for a while. They're going to need all the energy they can get, and they're going to, at this point, you had your lead, you've lost it, you're back, you're 9-9 within 1. You have to start rotating your players out again, I think, if you're Santa Barbara, to give them a bit of a rest. You still have a long way to go in this one.
Yeah, you've stopped the bleeding. You have to get another break to win this game, but it doesn't have to be right now, right? This is not necessarily a must-win point for Santa Barbara, although Neeson, Pitt-Caithley, and Gross are all on the field right now. However, if they were able to get that lead again, it would earn them back some of the momentum here. They've just scored an O point, getting a D point, getting a break here would really bolster their chances and allow them to come back on top.
Head coach Carolyn Finney deciding to go for the break now, loading up the line. Henkin in the center of the field, underneath to Abbey. Gross giving chase. Henkin. Rumeritz. Chang and Neeson matched up once again. Neeson underneath. Zettner.
Some picker foul downfield called by Gross.
Neeson and Chang, a great matchup to watch.
It looks pretty even at this point with Neeson on defense. If there's a turnover, I'd expect Chang to switch off of Neeson. She hasn't been the best as a cutter defender for Michigan.
Still discussing the foul downfield. Observers coming in.
6.
Coming in on 6. High stall situation. See if Neeson is going to force Chang back or really play tough face guarding defense. Going upfield instead. Didn't feel it.
No one there for Zettner's break. Santa Barbara now with that chance to break with a star line.
Barth underneath. De Los Reyes looking to the end zone. Now back to Barth. The end zone. Pacathley for the break. 10-9. Santa Barbara regains the lead. Back and forth.
There it is. All Michigan's momentum gone. They broke back 3 in a row, but now Santa Barbara shows they're not done yet either. They still have the legs. Pacathley scoring that goal. And Santa Barbara going back up 10-9.
Strategy pays off, and really Neeson does such a great job there in the dump defense. I think that just takes a little bit of confidence out of Zettner. It's not as easy as it has been all game long. Zettner tries to go upfield with it. The wind now is picked up to around 10 miles an hour, just enough to pop those discs up and make it a little bit tougher.
Yeah, the mark was going pretty flat there to take away those swings. That inside-out lane did open up, but Zettner didn't step in the right direction to be able to get the right inside-out edge on that throw. She threw it to the inside-out lane, but with an outside-in edge, and it just bladed into the ground past its receivers.
10-9 Santa Barbara. Michigan energy on the low end, and Santa Barbara burning skirts, picking it up. Pacathley on the field. Neeson as well. Pacathley. Just over half field. Chang. Swings it to the far side. Zone here. Pacathley in the middle of the field. Jarek over the top. Finding Zettner for the score. And if you're Santa Barbara, that's the throw you want. But you want to guard it a little bit better than that.
And Neeson was a little out of position there. They all knew it was coming. But Neeson is playing a little bit too much in front of Zettner there. And Jarek just puts it out into space for her, making it easy for Michigan to tie it back up at 10s.
10-10, Michigan cuts through the zone. We'll be right back with the conclusion of this game, Next Gen Network 2014 College Championships. Back in Cincinnati, Ohio, second half action, Santa Barbara, Michigan. Santa Barbara with the disc, tied at 10s, regaining control of this game. And we're up 8-6. Michigan took the lead 10-9. Going deep for Kang. Easy point for Santa Barbara, and Ryan, that's exactly what they need for the rest of this game.
Absolutely. Michigan, again, not playing that super tight defense. There are 2 easy undercuts there, and then Kang gets behind Henkin, and Neeson just puts it out for her. Kang is deceptively fast. She has that speed to chase down those hucks, blow by those defenders. And Henkin, also a much shorter player, probably should have been on her back hip as opposed to protecting that underneath. We have updates from the other pre-quarters. In women's pre-quarters, Carleton took half on Tufts, 8-6. UBC is up on Colorado College, 12-8. And Virginia Hydra is over UCLA Blue, 9-5 right now.
Our last game of the day, last round. Pre-quarters 11-10. Have ourselves a great game. Santa Barbara, Michigan. Looking back on the game and how this started, both offenses got into a groove early, Ryan. 6-6, no breaks in the game. Santa Barbara had some chances they didn't convert, and then Santa Barbara was able to pull away, make it 8-6 for halftime.
Right, but Michigan re-energized themselves during that halftime. They came out 3 breaks in a row to start the second half, but they've let that all go to waste. They let Santa Barbara right back into that game. And now Santa Barbara's in the driver's seat, up 11-10, pulling here to Michigan. Vlock to receive the pull.
Vlock looking to center to Chang. More zone from Santa Barbara. 3-person cup, 3-3-1. 3 people around the disc. and Neeson in the middle of the field, trying to read the throws. Michigan spacing it out. The adjustment here, the strategy is you can put 3 people with fresh legs in the middle of that cup, and an overthrow. Great grab on the sideline. Jarek saves possession.
That's what she brings to this team. She's an incredibly athletic receiver. She knows where to be. And she put that last goal for Michigan, too. She's got the throw. She's a complete player and an excellent defender as well.
Foul called on the play. Take a look here at the catch by Jarek along the sideline.
With the defender in coverage, too, Jarek still bidding past her to make that catch and stay in bounds as well.
Everybody's just taking a little rest.
Call on the play. Chang going to be with the disc. Neeson trying to get a head start. Not on the field right now. Lisa Pacathley getting some rest. Still some discussion here. And we're back into play. Chang. Block. 3-person cup. Michigan trying to swing it. Physicality on the mark from Santa Barbara.
Surprised we don't see any cards here for that. It seems like the normal type of play you'd give a TMF for or a blue card at Nationals. Just over-aggressive on the mark.
Blue cards at Nationals, a new system they're using to display TMFs.
Yeah, they've separated technical infractions from TMFs. Things like rushing the field and swearing. Separate violations now from things like fouling on the mark and double teams and making bad calls. The penalty is the same, though, if you get 3 of either.
If the goal here is to get rest for Lisa Pacathley, Santa Barbara is doing a great job of extending this point and now transitioning to person defense. Neeson wants the D. Play's going to continue. Abby, Jarek. Looking for Chang.
Chang just has great reach on these throws.
More, though, with another drop. That's 2 in this game. Normally a pass we expect to come up with.
Foul called by Barth.
Barth, it looked like there was some contact in the mark. Physicality really picking up in this game, Ryan.
I think as frustration gets higher, physicality gets higher as well. As you get tired legs, people see their seasons coming to a close. They come back with a little more aggression, a little more physicality. Observer upholds the foul call. This goes back to Barth.
Barth throws up the line, finds Patterson. Gross. Signal the receiver to get out. Back to Barth. Good dump cut, drives. More back. Middle of the field wide open. Not many cutters right now. Neeson trying to take over. No Lisa Pacathley.
This is when you need Neeson to stretch the field. You need her to be able to give that 15-yard undercut and keep the offense moving. Gross and Barth can't just swing it back and forth the whole time.
2 receivers in the area. Patterson trying to come down with it, the intended receiver. Michigan going the other way. Smith back to Chang. Long point for both squads. Moore. Wilson. Finding Jarek. You saw both teams tired here. Call on the play. Pick called.
Anytime with the disc for flywheel. Coming in on 5. Taylor's race on the mark.
Chang going deep. Jarek, 2 defenders in the area. Neeson there. Neeson with a little bit of a bump, but no foul called.
That's just great sandwiching by the Santa Barbara defenders. One in front, one in back. Push Jarek too far underneath the disc so she can't actually make the play. And Neeson cleans it up on the backside.
A lot of cutters coming in now, getting active. De Los Reyes with the disc. Looking for an option, has to put it out to space. This one's gonna float. Everybody around it. Tipped in the air by Abby.
One of the smallest players in that area with the D, and Chang goes deep for Jarek. Wide open. Michigan holds that O point to tie it back up at 11s.
Huge point for both squads. Santa Barbara gonna come off tired, but Lisa Picathley would not on.
11-11, folks. Here we are, all tied up again.
She had a chance to rest. Neeson is gonna need one here.
Gross looks a little tired on the sidelines as well.
(11-11). Game has gone back and forth. Huge point there. Santa Barbara really wasn't close to getting a break. Didn't have enough cuts available. They got to about half field, but Michigan definitely sloppy from them.
A bit uncharacteristic with some of those turnovers. Drop by Moore. Huck to Jarek in double coverage he doesn't come down with. But in the end, they're able to capitalize really quickly after that crossfield Santa Barbara throw.
Neeson taking a short break. Back on the field.
As is Gross.
Timeout called by Michigan here. They're going to rest. And I think this benefits Santa Barbara hugely here. You said Neeson, Gross, Barth play a long point, and we're going to take a break and see the conclusion of this one through Next Gen Network's coverage of the 2014 College Championships. Back in Cincinnati, Ohio, through the conclusion of the pre-quarters round, women's division, Santa Barbara tied at 11s with Michigan. Back and forth game. I'm Brian Jones here with Ryan Thompson. Last time, Michigan came out of a timeout and a break. The defensive intensity ramped up. We have an offside call on the field.
Yeah, Michigan, after halftime, came out really fired up. It's interested to see how they come out right now with another strong line on the field. Michigan hasn't been rotating their players much more than Santa Barbara has. You see Chang, Jarek, Moore, Zettner out there again. Vlock and Henkin also have played a lot of points.
Both teams fighting for their season. 11-11.
When it comes down to this, 4 or 5 points here towards the end of the game to determine whether or not you're going to play another day at Nationals or whether your season is over. You got to roll with your veterans, roll with your experienced players.
Picathley hits the disc. Immediately open cutter underneath. Johnston up in the air. Picathley can't come down with it. Michigan going the other way. Chang looking for any option, now forced to go back. Henkin.
And Neeson may have gotten a hand on that throw from Henkin. Looks like Neeson might have just saved that point for Santa Barbara.
Picathley.
I really don't understand this defense from Michigan, playing so far off of so many people.
Neeson appears to make the catch. Caught her in the chest.
Observer rules down.
That's a burning skirts turnover.
Everybody have to go back to position.
Down call was made, immediately referred to the observer, who points for down.
(11-11). Michigan with the disc. Chang picking it up. Over the top. Zettner. Moore going deep. Zettner for Moore. Kang giving chase. Gonna float. Kang gets a hand on it.
Kang, great defense there. Again, surprisingly explosive. She gets that position and gets up big to tap it away from Moore.
Picathley looking off, floats this one up. Moore there. Over the top, Neeson. Hernandez, a lot of drops. Everybody just needs to settle down on both sides.
Michigan is loving this though, the long point.
Back for Chang. Neeson going up the line, foul called. Neeson just catching up.
Foul away from the disc.
Neeson behind Hankin.
Hankin trying to figure out where she's at.
This is the type of foul you hate to have to talk about
Doing well. Disc in on one. 82.
because you were just trying to catch up and the feet get tangled up, but you know you initiated contact.
Doesn't have much of an effect on the stall count either. It's a 1 second difference or so.
Chang inside. Hankin looking for Chang. Great movement. Neeson no longer on Chang. Inside to Moore. Johnston. Just not the right matchup here for Chang. Chang's going to go to town every other throw.
Unclear whether it's Zettner or Gross there making a call.
Neeson's just done a great job slowing down Chang. You've got to look to switch here. Johnston's just not equipped.
Looks like that inside-out backhand space right there is wide open. If Chang just steps out and throws it to Zettner. But not looking there though.
Foul called on the play.
Game has really slowed down over the last couple minutes. Kang there, calling Moore for the foul.
Long discussions here.
Yeah, not much of an effect on the stall count, whether this is a foul or not.
Coming back to Chang. Coming in on 4.
3. Brady Chang with the disc.
Chang
Rachel Johnston on the mark.
looking for an option. High stall situation. Out to space. Wide open. McCaithley not really paying attention. Up the middle. Jarek with the score. Michigan regaining the lead. Back and forth.
If you're a Michigan cutter, you know Chang's going to want to hit that IO break space at a high stall count. And Jarek floating in there, grabs the disc for Michigan to break and take the lead now, 12-11.
Santa Barbara going to walk slowly back to the line. 12-11. At this point, it's as close to a must score as you get without it being a must score. You're late in the game, 12-11.
You don't want to go down 2 breaks. That's almost insurmountable if you have a limited amount of energy to expend at this point. Santa Barbara looks a little defeated here, but if they can put this one in and get another couple shots at a break, I mean, they're right back on top. I think they've got to be disappointed with themselves after a point like that, though. Drops, throwaways, just giving the disc back to Michigan, and then winding up with a really not the right matchup on Chang there, allowing her to move the disc the last part of the field and throw the assist.
Those mental mistakes can add up and be chalked up to also the lack of depth. These players are not fresh for either side, really. We start to see sloppy physical points as we get closer and closer. Gross. Wind now blowing. Santa Barbara going upwind and immediately over the top. Chang, give and go. Inside, McCaithley on the mark. Chang. Is that there in isolation? McCaithley, a block by Neeson gets it back.
Neeson's second hand block in 2 points. Gives new life to Santa Barbara.
There needs to be cutting right away. Finding Barth.
Yeah, good chip, under.
Angela Dong in the middle of the field. Kang. Neeson going deep. Now coming back under. Neeson can't make the grab. Hankin. Looking back for Chang. Abby. Been a bright spot here for the Michigan Cutters, providing energy. Chang. Chang tries to go around.
Gross just so far off of Jarek.
Kang playing tough. Hankin. This would be crucial for Michigan. 12-11. You can tell Santa Barbara's tired. Zettner go to the end zone. Blocked. Gross was there. Kang wide open, but no support.
Jarek wasn't occupying Gross there. Jarek was playing wide, and Gross was poaching in the middle, getting a hand on that huck.
Over the top for Gross. Jarek there. McCaithley. Finding Gong. Bayless Reyes. Kang. Santa Barbara staying alive. McCaithley keeping it in. Yes. 12-12. Both teams, you can just tell the fatigue. Very little celebration from Santa Barbara and Michigan, and Chang just in a squatted position saying, I'm not sure how much more I have left in this tank.
Resignation from Michigan there. That's a great play by Gross, putting that throw in the end zone. You could have easily put it to McCaithley on the doorstep, but put a little extra on that throw to lead her into the end zone, to finish that point, save the extra couple throws, and get that score back to 12-all.
(12-12). 2 minutes away from cap. 2 minutes away from soft cap. Great game, back and forth. Michigan breaks, Santa Barbara breaks, doesn't matter. Both teams fighting for their lives. And it's whoever has more left in the tank at this point in time. The mental mistakes are starting to add up. Both teams are physically tired. Lisa McCaithley giving some words of encouragement.
At this point, with the score at 12-12 and cap coming on in a minute, it's going to be game to 15. Whoever scores this point will have 13.
Hole, but you can see Santa Barbara, even with a deep hole, coming down slow. More in isolation, Johnston. McCaithley now being active.
Kang playing great defense on Chang here.
Zettner. Chang going downfield a little bit. Kang very close. Cap, just as we said. Chang looking back. Now looking for an option. Zettner. Trying to look back. Now forced to go deep for Jarek. Kelly Gross is there. Gross with the D. Oh.
Santa Barbara, Michigan is calling her out, which makes no sense because she was on defense. So it's her disc no matter what. Doesn't matter if you catch the disc out of bounds if you're on defense, as long as you don't drop it.
No call on the play. It's an active call from the observers regardless, trying to just figure out what's going on here. Finding Kang.
That's just a tired call from Chang.
Kang to Barth. McCaithley getting active downfield, and this is where she needs to be active, absolutely. Patterson.
You don't want to get stuck in this corner here. Barth, nice dump cut.
Finding Kang. Kang has been so crucial for this game for Santa Barbara. McCaithley marching down the field. 12-12. Cap is going to be on after this point. We'll have a game to 15. McCaithley, Gross.
Nice job slipping that coverage there by Gross.
Looking for any opportunity. Now for McCaithley. A little high, no problem. Great read by Jarek, just can't get there.
Santa Barbara's problem is they have players standing all across the end zone. There's no space to cut into because you already have a player standing in that space.
Keithley now getting active. To the break side, nothing available. Looking for Kang.
Kang is making that cut at half speed. Not going to get the disc there.
Keithley. Up for Barth. Makes the right-handed grab, but we have a stall called on the play.
We have a stall call.
Still arguing here. Getting into a high stall situation. No real dump cuts available.
Observer rules stall. Zettner's disc.
Good movement up until the end zone here for Santa Barbara. Still some discussion going on. This has to be put back into play.
Disappointing for Santa Barbara. Again on the doorstep to break and can't put it in.
It's the story of the game if they lose is the missed opportunities. Kang, though, back on Chang. And going deep for more. Once again, Johnston there. Hanging. Johnston can't get a hand on it. Moore floats over everybody. Moore comes down with it. Moore to Abby for the score. 13-12. Michigan regains a little bit of energy, to say the least.
That's a huge, huge play from Becky Moore.
And we'll be right back to see the conclusion of this game. 13-12, Michigan leads here on the Next Gen Network. Back in Cincinnati for the last round of the day. Pre-quarters here. I'm Brian Jones with Ryan Thompson. Next Gen Network 2014 College Championships. Heritage Oak Park. 13-12 Michigan leads. And the women's division pre-quarters over UC Santa Barbara. Here we go, the last part of this game. Centers to Keithley. Kang and Neeson downfield. Neeson getting a rest in the last point.
Block poaching way, way off.
Getting it, De Los Reyes.
Michigan sticking with Hankin on Neeson.
Neeson has kept Santa Barbara in the game defensively with multiple point blocks. Kang matched up with Chang on both sides now.
Foul, no contest on the mark.
Lots of space downfield. Keithley with a great opportunity to be ice out, and she needs to take over here in the later part of this game. Matched up with Zettner.
Typical for Michigan. Hernandez clears out to open that space.
Kang is going to be forced to put it. Puts it up deep with Gross. Deed. Jarek was there.
It's a big play by Jarek. And not a great matchup for Santa Barbara now with De Los Reyes on Jarek.
Hankin. Neeson been very active on the mark. But Keithley playing off of Zettner. Poaching here. Going back.
Oh, and
dropped.
Big drop by Vlock. Santa Barbara really, really would appreciate that right now.
Gross. And here's where Keithley has to get active.
Violation called by Gross.
It's gotten a little chippy here. Nothing too bad.
Gross claiming that Vlock was stalling before she picked it up.
Coming in on 0.
Neeson isolated downfield. Gotta like this one-on-one.
Keithley out to space. Neeson makes the grab inbounds. Noel Neeson.
What a catch by Noel Neeson. Lisa Keithley putting that so far out there. It was a great break throw, but right at the sideline, and Neeson staying in bounds. What a way to make that catch, stay in bounds, and tie the game up for Santa Barbara.
Noel Neeson may not be the Callahan nominee for Santa Barbara, but right now, Santa Barbara is not tied at 13s without her in this game.
Absolutely not. Santa Barbara needs someone to be able to drive the disc downfield as a cutter, someone who can gain those chunks of yards while Gross and Keithley and Barth are swinging the disc back and forth. Neeson has that energy. She has that quickness She can beat her defender and gain those easy 15 yards again and again and again. Without that, they're just stuck swinging back and forth and back and forth.
13-13, game to 15. Soft cap is on. Unless this point is a very long one, we're going to get to 15 today. Pre-quarters, one of these teams' season is ending in the next several points.
Looks like we've got 3 points left unless this one is 12 minutes long.
Gross, Pacathley on the line, and on the other side for Michigan, Chang out in the field.
Moore, Jarek, Torvinen, Vlock, Abby.
Kang taking Chang once again. Fantastic defense so far, and see a little bit of poaching here with just Gross hanging back in center field. Looking for Chang.
Great D again by Kang, forcing Chang out.
Lead to Vlock. Torvinen moves it to Zettner. Now a change of a matchup. Kang though poaching in the lane. You can see the switching defenses going on. Chang has to throw it. The break side open receiver. Zettner. Chang swinging it to Abby. 2 receivers. Gross going with Moore. Jarek putting it up. Zettner is deep. Pacathley chasing it down. Can't make the catch. Had it in her hands.
It's a huge bid by Pacathley. Doesn't get the disc, but that flying body coming through there had to have had some effect on Zettner.
Pacathley almost there. Gross. 13-13, game to 15. Barth.
A break here would be huge.
Neeson. Abby gets the D, going back to Michigan. Chang, been so deadly in this game. Give and goes. Chang around. Moore. Back to Chang. In break position, puts it up. Jarrett comes down with it, 14-13. Michigan leads.
Game point, Michigan coming up. Michigan will pull with a chance to break for the win. If you want to use a timeout, now is the time to use your timeout. If Santa Barbara scores this, the game goes to overtime and they both get another timeout. If they don't use it, they lose it.
Lesser known rule in Ultimate, overtime starts when the game is a 15 at 14-14. No matter what, each team gets 1 timeout. A lot of people get it wrong. They think cap has something to do with it. In the game to 15, it's always at 14-14. It's coming down here, Santa Barbara down by 1. And if they're going to lose this game, we're going to look back on all those break opportunities they had at the end zone.
3 times just outside the end zone with the chance to break.
One of those would have been huge. We'll see if they still have the energy to fight through this last point. Or last 2. Whoever is waiting for them in quarters is going to be happy that this game is going this way.
I believe the winner of this game gets Central Florida.
UCF Sirens, get ready to go. Your opponent has been playing a very hard game.
UCF locked up that pool with first 3 games. They played against Northeastern but didn't have to.
Gross. Poaching here for Moore.
Pacathley just standing on the sideline here.
Pacathley. Neeson getting active. Not much available. Downfield. Well, cuts coming from a long ways away. Barth. Active marks. Getting it to Gross. Pacathley. Now coming underneath. Bumped. Makes the grab. Pacathley. Looking for Johnston. Now back for Gross. Angela Dong coming under, but Noelle Neeson. Gross. Gonna put it up for Pacathley. She's too far.
That is a great throw by Gross. Foul called by Pacathley. Got tripped up by Chang.
That's a tough foul call, but But Casey was so close to it.
That's absolutely a legitimate foul in my opinion. Foul, no contest. Picately's disc on the doorstep.
Tough for her in that Michigan. You hate to see that. You were so close.
You know Lisa's going to catch that if she doesn't get tripped up, though. She almost got it anyway.
True.
Gross.
Very true.
Great way to bend that throw in around Zettner. Only Picately had a play at that. Kang right now way ahead of her defender. Johnston, too.
Casey holsters. And this would be huge. An opportunity, looking for anything. Puts it up for Gross, wide open. Makes the grab in the end zone. Santa Barbara survives. Whew, sigh of relief. 14-14.
We're going to see a double game point right now.
We're in overtime, both teams with timeouts. But both teams have really chosen not to use them in these cases. And Santa Barbara, typically they've just been wanting to go, and they've been able to fight through.
And Michigan doesn't want to give them any more rest than they have to. But both teams feeling the effects of playing a 14-14 game right now, playing the same players over and over and over again.
14-14, pre-quarters, one team season is ending right now.
Again, I love the aggression there from Gross, seeing Picately one-on-one, putting a great throw into space for her. And then again, right back at the end zone. Even with Jarek on Gross, Picately, high stall count. You put it to the players who brought you here. She has so much trust in Gross, puts it up to her, even with one of the best defenders in the country on her. And Gross comes down with the disc.
Double game point, 14-14, game to 15. Next point wins. Burning skirts, Santa Barbara are going to have to break in order to get this one done. Michigan coming the other way. Chang played a fantastic game. Noelle Neeson on the other side. Incredible defensive effort. Kang, though, is going to draw the assignment.
Again, Miri Chang saving her team with a layout catch on an errant dump throw.
Santa Barbara electing to go with a poachy-switchy defense. Very gutsy call.
Gross in the backfield. Jarek going deep.
Hunting Abby. Good
Sophomore Henkin running the show now.
Henkin looking back. Block. Inside break. Moore hangs this one in the air for Abby. Inbounds. Noelle Neeson has gotten point blocks earlier today. Up the line. Chang. Michigan so close from advancing the quarters. Chang. Looking up the line, puts it out to space for the goal and the win. Michigan takes it, 15-14.
Miri Chang up the line to Hannah Henkin. Such a narrow window, but Chang with so much trust in her younger teammate. University of Michigan Flywheel advances to take on the Central Florida Sirens tomorrow in quarterfinals. What a game.
Santa Barbara devastated, but great effort from the Burning Skirts. Just incredible effort from both sides, running with the same players over and over again.
So much emotion on the field from both sides. After a game played like this, you hate to see either team go home.
You really do. Santa Barbara, though, they're going to look back at this game and they're going to see those 3 end zone possessions and see missed opportunity. Michigan survives Emily Chang. What a game. Chang with so many assists, 8 in this game, only 4 turnovers.
Yeah, 8 in this game, 6 assists in the second half for Chang.
Gross with 5 assists, the big 3 getting it done for UCSB, but just not enough in this 15-14 loss.
It's been an incredible game. Michigan really slightly greater depth, a little bit more ability to grind out those long points. It seems like every single long point, Michigan won.
Came down to almost a near coin flip on some of the things, but Michigan, like you said, prevailed. Made just one less mistake when it mattered most. Tough loss for Santa Barbara. Michigan moves on to the quarters. Face UCF tomorrow. This has been Next Gen Network's coverage of the 2014 College Championships. For Ryan Thompson, I'm Brian Jones. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to join us tomorrow for the men's division quarterfinals early on around 8 or 8:30 in the morning. Going to be an early one. Thanks again for tuning in here in Cincinnati, Ohio.